All right. So we were the
So
Scarlett 2i2 is what you would
Scarlett
just
2i2, yeah. Um, so that thing, I'm gonna just bring it up. I'm gonna send it to you.
would
I have it.
use the share screen.
Use the share. Oh, that's true. All right, hang on. I'll do a little. I'll do a little promotion for somebody I like.
That works too. Yeah.
Oh, you have to turn it on because Zoom is a pain in the ass, and now you actually have to turn it on.
Let's see. All participants can go for it now.
All right, so this guy. So this guy, right? Um, this thing is a great. It's got these two.
Yep. Wait a minute. Your screen just kind of
Oh, hang on.
what's going on?
Did it screw around?
Yeah, it's kind of there. We go.
There we go. All right. So it's got one, two channels, right?
Yep.
These most interfaces are going to use these multi jacks. These things can take a 3-pin 1, 2, 3,
Hmm.
which is an XLR connection. They can take also a 1/4 inch connection, so you could plug. There's this button for instrument. You could plug like a bass or a guitar directly DI into
So
there.
you could plug like if you have headphones with the 1/4 inch.
So not into this. The headphones. So over here, you see
Well,
this.
but in other words, the it would go in and it would
So that
function.
that size jack would go in the middle, but if you were actually going to do headphones into this, you would want to use these,
Right.
right? Because these are just the inputs. So these are the inputs, and they have a gain knob here, and they have this air feature that I know adds some more gain among a few other things. But there are two channels, and then you've got some monitoring inputs. You have a headphone amp down here with a headphone level up in this guy.
So why would you use the outputs on the back as opposed to the headphone?
So this headphone is set up to be a separate headphone feed. When you are recording, you don't necessarily want the same headphones as like, so if I was recording somebody doing vocals, I would have them over in the booth and I would be out in the control room. So I
Hmm.
would be listening through the back outputs going to my speakers, and they would be listening through this headphone output, and it would be a slightly different mix. We could make it a slightly different level. Maybe they want it louder or softer, and that way, what I'm hearing and what they're hearing are separate. So we
Okay.
can each have what we need because if you're recording and you can't hear yourself, or if you're recording and you're hearing way too much of yourself, that's off-putting. That's not good. So you have your own separate headphone amp, and bigger, more substantial interfaces have several of these. So you can potentially make
Okay.
multiple headphone mixes. So if I was recording with like a four-piece band each, and again, if you're doing it in studio, you definitely have this, but some interfaces are big and have this feature where like each individual person could have their own headphone mix because
Mm,
the drummer wants to hear a little bit more of the bass player and the bass player wants to hear a little bit more of the singer, so you make them all their own individual mixes.
right.
Um,
Now, how would you have to set something like that up so that the left and right outputs on the back would, like, let's say I'm wearing a pair of headphones, someone else is wearing their own pair of headphones.
so
Um, wouldn't that be,
uh,
wouldn't they only be hearing one microphone?
no, so if you have them coming in, you have the microphones coming in mono, right? But you can have them outputting in stereo. If you have them panned up the middle and outputting in stereo, they're going equally to both outputs, the left and the right. What you'll hear if you plug a headphone into each one of these is you'll hear exactly that. But if you took them and sent one to the left and one to the right, like with panning, you would do
Hmm.
that in your software. If you did that, you wouldn't hear one of them because now they're going to only one input and or I'm sorry, only one output, and they're not going to the other.
Okay. Now,
Well,
how does this get to the computer?
this gets to the computer this way. It is a USB-C.
Okay.
So it just connects straight up USB. It should comes with a cable. It's
And
nice.
does that function
Um,
differently than what you're hearing in the line outs?
so what do you mean?
So, for example, if you have it set up so that um, I can hear, you have it set up right down the middle so that both people can hear both their voice and the other person. When it makes it into the computer, will it,
So
are you able to separate the two tracks, or
yes.
is it
So
still, or is that independent of the software you're using?
keep in mind that an interface does all of that stuff, but it does not record. Interfaces are not recorders, so you need some software to pair this with. Um, you know, people are gonna. I'm gonna. I'm looking at you funny on the wrong side of the screen. There we go. Um, people use Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Cubase, all these softwares, Reaper. Um, and you have to get a software if you're going to use this because you have to record into something.
Right.
Um, yeah, you need a multi-track recorder. So Reaper is really good software if you need one.
Okay.
Reaper is not free. The license is very cheap, but also Reaper is like you can use it for free forever. Reaper's super cool, and the company that makes Reaper is actually called Cocos or Cacos or something weird. I don't know. Cacos.
Uh,
I don't remember. Um,
so
here's-
how are you able to use that for
so
ever?
you can download Reaper on an evaluation basis,
Okay.
and you just keep evaluating. Every time you open Reaper, it pops up like, you know, you are still evaluating Reaper. Do you want to keep evaluating? You wait for it to count to 5 or count to do like a 5-second countdown, and then you can click still evaluating and just keep using Reaper. Um,
Hmm.
but also by comparison to most other DAWs, a license for Reaper is only $50 or so.